What's happening, people? So the Beast from the East is going to be taking on the Crusher. And then I was watching some videos with Sean Porter when he was speaking to Errol Spence Jr. You know, and they were talking about adversity. That Errol Spence was talking about that he had more dog in him than Sean Porter. And it's interesting hearing different fighters speak from their perspective. It's just their perspective, so don't take too much at heart. Errol Spence saying he had more dog than Sean Porter. We will see, of course, on fight night. Sean Porter saying, we'll see if you got more dog after you get cut. Now, a lot of people interpreted that as Sean Porter using dirty tactics to cut Errol Spence. But there are many different ways to cut somebody, okay? So, Sean Porter is rough and rugged. He is an Ohio State. You know, those guys from Ohio, you know, they always tough, rough and rugged fighters. Aaron Pryor was an example. But I don't think Sean Porter intentionally tries to headbutt. But it's an easy way for Errol Spence to negate that. So if a guy's coming through leading with his head, all you do is you push the head down. Or you use your forearm to head control the guy. Alright? So it's really easy to control a guy who's coming in with his head. If there's a guy who's using his elbows, then that means you have to use your forearms and your elbow again to keep the guy at bay, or to protect your body by keeping your elbows out. So that's a simple way to negate a guy using his elbows, using his forearm, or using his head. Alright, it's really that simple. Sean Porter does come in leading with his head sometimes, but for the most part, I think Sean Porter is just very vicious and very active. So that's the thing with Sean Porter. And what Sean Porter was really saying is that he got cut over his two eyes already. So he's saying he wanted to see what would happen if Errol Spence get cut over his eye. So that's where he was really coming from. He wasn't coming from, I'm going to cut your eye like, you know, I'm going to hit you with an elbow or a headbutt. He wasn't coming like that. But he's saying, I'm going to cut your eye and let's see what could happen then, right? More than like he's talking about from a punch, obviously. Anyways, I don't think that Sean Porter can just roughhouse Errol Spence. Errol Spence is big and strong, like Sean Porter, so that'll be a lot harder for him to do. But I do think he's going to try and work on the inside. I think he's going to try and work on the outside. I think he's going to try and work mid-range. He's definitely going to use his explosiveness, his speed, his quickness to try and offset what Errol Spence will be doing. So that's basically it with Sean Porter and Errol Spence. Let me talk a little bit about this upcoming fight here. Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde. I got to say, man, I am looking forward to this fight. I wasn't looking forward to it before. Obviously, Anthony Yarde does not have that amateur background and experience, and he just has a few pro fights. But this is a fight he wanted. He could have taken step-aside money. We found out it was about $1 million. He had step-aside money for Canelo to face Sergey Kovalev. Anthony Yarde said, I ain't having that. So Anthony Yarde wanted this fight. This is a fight he wanted. This is a boxer he wanted to get at. Kovalev, of course, boxing a lot better with Buddy McGirt as his trainer. So it should be interesting when these two guys clash. I do think Yarde has more skills offensively and defensively than Sergey Kovalev has. He just hasn't been tested. That was my major problem, like I said, and it's looked like a huge step up. But just seeing Anthony Yarde's mindset and his trainer's mindset as well, I have the confidence that Anthony Yarde will do exactly what he said he would do. So that's why I actually looking forward to seeing how this fight pans out. Again, prediction, Anthony Yarde by KO. I'm not changing my mind on that. Let's see if Sergey Kovalev can outbox him or try to box him from the outside, especially from the outside. I don't think Sergey's very good on the inside. Try to keep him off with his jab and his power. Or if Anthony Yarde will get inside of the jab or even outbox or outjab Kovalev even, and get on the inside of Kovalev and then work him from the outside and the inside. We never know. Because Anthony Yarde does a couple things, uses a couple of different kinds of jabs and stuff like that. I was listening to a guy talking about how Anthony Yarde is trying to be like Floyd Mayweather. And he was talking about how Adrian Broner tried to be that, and several other fighters tried to be like that. My point to the whole thing is this, all right? And I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. Anthony Yarde's trainer was working with Mayweather Senior and Jeff and all of those guys in the Mayweather boxing gym. Okay, so you will see semblances of Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, those kinds of guys, Mike Tyson. But at the end of the day, Anthony Yarde is Anthony Yarde. One thing that Adrian Broner didn't have is distance control. And I see that Anthony Yarde uses distance control. And even if the guy is much smaller than him, he takes his time, works the guy, breaks him down. And that's all Anthony Yarde needs to do. I hear a lot of people say Anthony Yarde just jump on Kovalev early and all that. That's bullshit. Anthony Yarde needs to take his time. I notice he has decent composure. He stays pretty calm. He just needs to take his time and break down Sergey Kovalev. He'll need to, of course, be first. He'll need to take control of the fight early. I don't know, because he doesn't have championship experience at the championship level, or he has not faced a contender or anybody like that. I don't think he has. You know, Floyd Mayweather, he faced Tony Pepper, who was a two-time contender, titleist. But Anthony Yarde doesn't seem to have faced somebody like that. He faced somebody who was a contender or something like that. But he hasn't faced a contender, at least that's as far as I know. So, at the end of the day, we'll see how he fares. Maybe he has faced a contender or two, or a former world champion. Maybe he has. I'll go and look at his resume. But at the end of the day, the thing that I'm looking at is how dialed in Anthony Yarde is to this fight. And I just don't think Sergey is as dialed in or wants it as bad as Anthony Yarde wants it. And that's the only difference. It's weird saying this because this guy got no amateur background, hasn't really faced guys on the tier of Sergey Kovalev in any way, shape, or form. But yet at the same time, I'm actually going to back Anthony Yarde on this one and see what happens in this fight, okay? So that's my prediction. Let me talk a little bit more about something else I was talking about in boxing. Already put up my video. You guys will see that video very soon. I don't know why my face looks like that. Yeah, but I'm going to put up a video very soon that has to do with, it's going to be an 8-minute video. Very soon that has to, Juan Marquez and his power, okay, if I haven't put it up already. But what I'm going to do is tell you guys one more thing. I want to follow up on one more thing that has to do with Manny Pacquiao, and it has to do with Terrence Crawford as well. People are saying that Manny Pacquiao, he ain't gonna face Terrence Crawford. He's not gonna face Spence or Sean Porter winner. Let me say this abundantly clear: Manny Pacquiao can face anybody he wants to face. The important thing though is he needs to tighten up his D a little bit more with the high guard, and he also needs to get appropriate amounts of rest in between fights. As to the Pacquiao Mayweather bout, which may happen at the end of next year, looking forward to it. It's not one that's necessary. I want to say, if Manny Pacquiao wins his next fight, congratulations to him. He has an incredible career. Once upon a time, I used to say Floyd Mayweather is the greatest of this era. He's not the greatest of this year. Pacquiao is the greatest of this year, arguably the greatest of all time. But he will cement that depending on the kinds of fights he has next and the fighters and how he wins. But this guy is a hell of a fighter. When it comes to the best ever, however, obviously there's no disputation. Floyd Mayweather takes that title. When you talk about pound for pound, that's a totally different category. Manny Pacquiao, of course, going through many weight classes, proving his pound for pound status. Floyd Mayweather has also gone through some weight classes, showing his pound for pound status. I think with pound for pound, this is what you got to ask yourself. The question is this: if two fighters at the same weight faces each other, who would win? That's pound for pound the best. So in that pound for pound argument, you would have to argue that Floyd Mayweather is the better pound for pound fighter of the two. Only because he's faced Pacquiao and beat him, one, and two, he's gone through multiple weight classes and proved his point as well. So this has to do with who would beat who. That's pound for pound status. It's a hypothetical thing, but in this case, Floyd actually faced Manny Pacquiao and beat him. All right, guys. I'm catch y'all guys later. Shout out to everybody. I'm out. Peace.